Bandwidth for MacBreak is brought to you by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
Welcome to MacBreak Studio. My name is Brian Gary, and I'll be your host. Today, I'm joined by Steve Martin. Hi, Steve.
Good to see you, Brian.
Always a pleasure to see you. So today's interesting topic because we're kind of going back in time a little bit. Because before Flash and all that interactivity on the web, you could achieve similar interactivity in terms of being able to have hot links in your video, clickable things to do with QuickTime.
Correct. If you had a QuickTime movie and you wanted a link in the movie, an embedded link, you could use a product like LiveStage Pro, which that company doesn't exist anymore, but it was an $800 software package, or you could use
Premiere, right? Yeah.
Well, I don't know about Premiere, but I know Adobe's Go Live had the ability to edit QuickTime movies and add links and hyperlinks and that sort of thing in the movie. And there's really not a QuickTime solution to allow you to do that.
Right. Some people also call that wired. Like you'll hear that term sometimes.
Yeah,
wired
they call
QuickTime.
it wired QuickTime because it's well, it's got some interactivity in it. It's wired to do something.
Wired.
It's wired. Yes. So of all the applications I've discovered to do to create a wired QuickTime, it's Keynote.
Keynote.
Yeah.
Part of iWork, the $79 iWork.
It's great. And you're going to see how we're going to actually add a hyperlink right in the QuickTime movie.
Because remember we even talked, I think, in a previous episode with Alex, you can do it in compressor, but it's extremely limited.
Yeah.
You can't move the hyperlink anywhere, you can't change the color, you can't change the text, anything.
Right.
You know, so.
Well, let's look at it.
Yeah.
So I've took the liberty of opening Keynote. Here it is right here. We have to pick a theme. In this case, just choose a black theme. And then down here in the slide size, you can pick your different slide size. Now, it's just so interesting how this happens to be one of the an HD compliant slide size, 1280 by 720.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and just choose that because that's the size clip I'm going to bring in. Click Choose, and it applies the theme, and there you go. Now, I'm just going to hit Apple A and just delete the text there, and I'll add some text later because I really want the text on top of the movie, not behind it. So notice here I have a video up here on the desktop. I'm just going to drag this right in. I just added a movie right to my Keynote presentation.
Okay.
Now, one of the things about Keynote is it doesn't auto-center it, so I'm going to go ahead and move this around until I center. Notice you have those dynamic alignment guides that help you figure out.
Motion has those too.
Yeah, Motion has them too, but notice it's now dead center.
Right, okay.
So I have this movie, and let's say I want to add a hyperlink. What I'm going to do is get this text box up here and click this box, and notice I got a little text box. I'm going to highlight this. And let's say I'm selling a product, okay? And I'm just going to type here, click. I'm just type out click here. I can't spell today.
To order.
To order.
There we go.
Okay, click here to order.
Okay.
Now, this is a text box that can be clicked on and moved around. Okay. So I can move this wherever I want. I can change the text color. We aren't interested in doing that right now, but all I'm interested in doing is making it a hyperlink.
Right.
So I think we could put it there. We could put probably down here in the lower corner so it's not covering stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the text, and I'm going to bring up what's called the inspector. Almost all Apple applications have the inspector.
Right.
It brings up a little window here, over here, this little window. Allows you to change the properties of what's selected. Now all I need to do...
So you could change the font, you could change the color, you could change whatever you want.
You go, there's your text, so I can change, the character and the, the number of lines, the spacing, all that stuff. But I'm not interested in any of that. I only want to make a hyperlink. So there's a little icon right here next to QuickTime. This is the hyperlink button, or the hyperlink panel. And all I have to do is check this box, enable as hyperlink.
Okay.
Now, right now, the default is a hyperlink to a slide, which means if you click it, it'll jump to a different slide. So if you're doing a presentation and you want to click on it, it'll jump to slide 50 or what have you. Okay. We don't want to do that. We want to click the pop-up. Look at this, link to web page.
Oh, and there's also email in there too.
What's really great about that is you could do a text on, let's say, on top of her head says, "Click my head to send me an email" or something.
Right.
So what we're going to do is choose web page. Which we're going to do, and look at that. There's our web call right there. It's by default. It's set for Apple's web page, but I can go in here. It's a www.ripple training. There's my plug.
Okay.
And so I got the web page set.
Right.
Okay. And that's all there is to it. Okay. There's my movie, and now I'm ready to share it. Okay. So what do? File, and down here, export.
Okay.
Over here. And look at all these different formats you can export to. QuickTime's a default. You can go to PowerPoint, PDF, Flash. You can even make a Flash movie. right here from Keynote.
And then the iPod.
And an iPod.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm just going to stay with QuickTime.
Okay.
And notice here, you can set it for manual advance, where you actually, the user will take the initiative to click forward on a slide. But this is only a movie. You might have it set for fixed timing, but just leave it on the default. Okay. You can leave it. You can set full screen mode. I suggest leaving that off. Under formats, it's set for the largest possible. In other words, it'll do 1280 by 720, which is a little big for the web.
Okay.
So.
And what's the codec? I mean, obviously, what you brought in, was either a ProRes or
it's H.264.
Okay, so it's no matter what, when you're coming out of Keynote, you're going into H.264.
Correct. In fact, you can see that. Notice as I make the different changes, look, it tells you what the codec is right there.
Great.
Say, like if I choose web movie, it's going to make a 320 by 180.
Okay.
Notice it keeps the aspect ratio. Okay. So CD-ROM, 640 by 360.
Nice.
So if I want a fairly large movie to embed on my page, that's the one I would want to go with.
Okay.
Okay. That's all there is to it. Is click next, and we name our movie, and this is Stacy, and I'll save that on the desktop. And what it's actually doing right now, it's kind of, when it exports, it kind of does this weird stuttery thing.
Right.
Don't be afraid. It's not doing anything. It's actually just going through every frame.
It'll go away. Don't worry.
Now, if I open up the movie, watch what happens. There's the movie right there. See it? And if I click on the movie, it'll play. See, I'm clicking in the movie, and notice it's playing.
Oh, okay.
You can embed that on a web page. But here's the best part. When I click this, click here to open, look, you get the little finger pops up.
Yeah.
Right? So it'll click it, and boom, goes right to the website.
Oh, that's really sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what, what would you find that people would use this for? I mean, what kind of interactivity could you add to this beyond, commerce? Is there anything else? I mean, obviously, if you see, click here to order. What other things do you think you could do with this? That would be pretty interesting.
Well,
not to put you on the spot.
Well, you are putting me on the spot, actually. No.
Okay, you know what? There are no other uses. In fact, it's just to go to rippletraining.com, and that's it.
That's what you want to use it for.
Exactly. No, but it seems like the whole idea of the email, especially like for a show like this, you could put a link down at the bottom and say, click here to email us all your glowing comments about how much you love the show, or things like that. You could do multiple things.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a fairly simple.
Sure.
Link. It's set up to go to HTTP calls, so it's gonna bring up blogs or web pages.
Right.
And in some cases, you might want it to open the email client. So, like I was saying earlier, you can have it say, click here to email me, and they click and it opens the email client.
Right.
Outside of that, it's pretty basic.
Okay.
One thing that you might want to do is instead of using text, you can also use a graphic instead of text.
So a logo.
A logo. And they click on that. But a lot of times they may not know to click on the logo.
Right.
It's just there. It's more of a...
It looks like a bug.
It looks like a bug, exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's a great tip. And speaking, since we have the Ripple Training website up here, you've got other tips that are free. There's also paid tutorials on rippletraining.com.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Brian.
And thank you for joining us. My name is Brian Gary, and you've been watching MacBreak Studio.